Good afternoon, everybody. This is our mic check. If you can see us, if you can hear us, go ahead and give us a thumbs up so that we'll know everything is working properly. We will begin promptly at 3 o'clock.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's doing good today. Pretty day outside, a little warmer than normal than we've been having. I'll move right on in my report first before I give our numbers. Had a lot of calls about several calls about the Sulphur Springs Gap Road, and we've had that down, Neil, since all the flooding. They're working on it today, have been for several days, but it's going to be at the best, Billy says, it'll be the middle of next week, if not the end of the week, because we run into some really wet ground down there, some of the rains that has happened since I've talked to you about this last week. So just bear with us on it. It's just it's a major thing, the culverts and all that we've had to replace. It's a big deal there, and in a remote area too. They're going up the mountain. The county brush pickup, I mention that almost every day, and the reason I do is because we get calls about it every day. People are concerned, as far as getting their brush out there. If we're still picking up, yes, we're still picking up. The state, I'm not sure when they're going to shut their time off as far as doing it. I'm sure they're going to do it the rest of the week, I feel, but they may work with us. So we're going to continue on into the end of the month, and then we'll kind of review and go back and look at and talk to a lot of the people that's had the most damage. that we'll work with you any way that we can, and so don't worry about it. Just try to get that stuff out there. A lot of people don't have the help except for weekends, and we understand that. So don't panic. We'll make it work. The driver's license, mention that again because we get a lot of calls about it. You know, we talked about it on the radio this morning. They will be back the 25th. After that, they'll be here every other Monday, and you know, a lot of people a birthday or their license is up, but the state has extended that your deadline, so I don't think you'll have any worry. On the driver's license, as far as the entrance, that some people they're not really understanding. Alex tried to explain it this morning. We've changed we've got a one-way in, one-way out over there, and when you come in, they will guide you through that. They're going to follow strict social distancing. They are state employees, and so they'll probably be even more overbearing than us, you know. But they're trying to live right by the guidelines of that. So that's why they want you to make appointments if you can, and if not, they will take you. I mean, if you don't do that, that's fine. They'll work with you and try to make your wait, as short as possible. If you got we don't have a phone number. I had 3 people come this morning about wanting the phone number. Well, they gave us a website. The actual the driver's license website is posted on our website, or you can call here and I'll give that to you. But they're evidently not taking calls or whatever. The only way you can actually make an appointment, from what I understand, is on that website. We have posted moving to the Cloudland Canyon issue that we've been having every weekend as far as visitors and people going in and out of the park. That's not old news. It sounds like it. Maybe we talk about it a lot, but if you're affected by this, it's not old news. This is something that happens. It's real, especially at the bottom of the mountain. This past weekend, I had a lot of cars that were parking in places they shouldn't. We have posted some new signs on top of what we've already got over there. This weekend, deputies were over there quite a bit. They had actually some homeowners had some cars towed that were in their yard. So hopefully this weekend will be smoother. But when they shut those gates up on the mountain in the valley, those people they come down, and they're from all states throughout the United States. These cars here were from Iowa, I think, and Indiana. So anyway, but all the people that are affected by that just kind of trying to bear with us on it. Bear with the sheriff's department. They're doing the best they can do, and it is a government street. It is not a private subdivision, so they do have a right to drive through. But from the signs, they don't have a right to park on that right of way over there and block you in as a homeowner. So work with us on that. Some of the barber shops or actual beauty shops, hair salons, they've opened back up. Seem to be doing a good job. We've not had really any complaints on them. Dade called me. They're open down there now to red light there. Her and Nelson Heartline. They were the first to close. As far as to, really some of the first to close, and they're some of the last to open because they really did try to live by the guidelines on this. So we're proud that they're back up and going. And of course, they're doing, overly bearing. They're doing going right by the guidelines, as is everyone over here, in the city and out in the county are doing. And that's what that's what it takes. It's what it takes to fight this thing. We've had some I say most. I know we're half of our churches, if not more. They're back now. They're doing social distancing. They're following the rules. I've not had really any really complaints. I had a lot of questions. Some people call about questions, and and it's working real well. Questions that we're having now, and I've talked to. We have 2 or 3, maybe a couple more. I don't know. I think there's 3 maybe that are venues, marriage venues here in the county. And they're real concerned, about the weddings that they've got scheduled. They've already had to give back money on several. Well, since the governor's lifted some of this, especially on churches, what we're advising them to do, they have a chapel and everything, where you do get married. So they've got to follow the exact guidelines as their churches. They've got to, by strict guidelines on that right there. As far as the 6 foot apart, the actual gathering of 10 or more people, they've got to really be cautious on that. And if they do have their weddings and go through with them, They need to offer, the face mask. They can't force them, of course, but offer face mask and also the sanitation, the hand cleaner and all. And I think that'd be good. But the biggest thing is to do that. Try to do the best you can. And I'm talking about the people that own these things, because there's so much liability there that you've got to really understand here. As far as if you don't and you let your guard down and say someone were to get sick, there's no telling where that would go. So that's something. Like there again, if it's not something that affects you, you don't really think about it. But these people here are really hurting. In fact, some of them are really talking about just they're going to lose it. They're going to close. So just use common sense on that. I want to mention the library again. They're open back up Tuesday, Thursday, and Fridays, 10 till 6. That's a big deal to a lot of people. A lot of people have been home all this time, and at least now they can get out and go to the library. They've got the Wi-Fi, the computers, and all that. A lot of people use the library a lot more than you would think. So we're glad to have them back. Our testing, I might say, I'm going to go over this, but this is definitely not a mandated thing that the governor. I mentioned the other day the governor that was wanting everyone possibly in the state of Georgia that possibly can to be tested, and that is recommended. It's not something the only way he could ever do that and force everyone in the state of Georgia to do anything like that would be martial law, and that's not what we're into, and I hope we don't ever go there. But this is a recommendation to help fight this, and honestly, it's a pretty good recommendation. I mean, to know, especially if you've been sick. If you've been sick back in the winter and you really couldn't figure out what was wrong with you, it would really be, to me, it was mine, kind of set my mind at ease to know just what I was dealing with. But I do want to stress that this is just the recommendation, and he's really opening up a lot of testing sites throughout Georgia, and will be for the next few months through the whole state of Georgia. But we're doing testing, as we mentioned yesterday. This morning it started at 9 o'clock. We had about 4 or 5 in line to start with, and as of let's say 2:45, they have actually tested 104 people. 104 people already. So I kind of thought they might do over 100. Last week we did 54. So I think people are more, they're kind of, getting out and they're wanting to know, I mean, and this morning those people that were down this morning, one of them was there before dark. I mean, before daylight. I'm sorry, but anyway, down at the park, and if you want to go down there, you can dial 1-706-802-5329, and that's 1-706-802-5329, and they will ask you some questions over the phone, and they will pre-fill out a form for you. So when you pull up there, you'll already have this filled out. Now, some of those people this morning had not called, and so they just pulled them over the side, and they took the information right there. So you don't have to call, but it just save you some time. But if you do call, it's pretty streamlined. You go through and they can run you right on through there. And from what I understand, I thought it was about 3 to 4 days. From what I understand, it's 5 to 7 days is what I understood this morning. That would be the maximum that you get a turnaround on your report as far as getting that back. We do now. That's only for the swab. That's the swab test, and it is free, no charge at all to you. And because that's Georgia Public Health Department that's doing that. We do have a test facility here. I mention this every day almost. The facility is Lawson Medical, and they're doing the antibody test. They'll do draw blood, and they also do the swab too. But there is a charge for that. And I know she charges $25, and I'd rather you call the number and talk to them. I'm not sure what the lab fee is because you do have a lab fee that you pay on top of that. And from what I understand, there's a good possibility some of your insurance will pay for that. But her number over there is 706-657-3200. That's 657-3200. And she's located just here on the square. There is another one over in Lafayette, right there at Walmart, at the Goodies, right beside the Goodies building. It is a Ready Clinic. That's the trade name. Its number is 706-620-0200. And they're doing just the antibody, and I'm not sure about the swab. I don't think they are, but they are doing that, and I think their test comes back in 3 to 4 days on that. The Lafayette also up the road there on 27 is the Walker County Civic Center, and from what I understand, they're doing theirs 5 days a week. Now there is a charge. Is that right? Now I couldn't ever find that out. Are they charging there at the Civic Center?
It is through the Department of Public Health.
So it's probably no charge.
Right.
So it'll be a swab test, right?
Yes.
Okay. So it is the same test that we have here on this Thursday. So it is a swab test, but the number over there is 706-375-7705. That's 706-375-7705. So if you don't make it down here today, tomorrow, Friday, you can go over there and be tested. Now the Lawson Medical here, this clinic here, is really their hours is going to help a lot of people because if you work during the day, you can't you don't want to take off work to get tested. So she's testing on Monday and Thursday over here, and she opens up at 5 in the evening for you and goes all the way through till 9 o'clock. That's Mondays and Thursdays. Now on Saturday and Sunday, the weekend, she does it from 8 till 6. The whole day there. Saturday we had 11 people just from that little. When she talked the other day, and we mentioned it on there. But she still needs more. She needs extras and more powers. So if you would call 657-8170. That's 657-8170. That would go into our elections office, and they'll explain to you what's required. But if you're retired, if you've got the time, it's not only a pretty interesting job to do, but you meet a lot of people normally you wouldn't meet, and it's just really interesting to get involved in the election end of the cycle there. In fact, we have already had, I just had this report a while ago, out of all the ballots that's been, the actual requests were sent out, and then you mailed them back in, and then the ballots were sent out, and then you voted and sent them back. Well, the ones that we've got back, we've got over 600 ballots that's already been returned. So there's over 600 people that's already voted, and so that's great. That's really good, really good. And I want to mention too, we do have the box outside. It makes it a lot easier for you if you come over here in the evenings or at night, 24/7. You can pull up to it. You don't even have to get out of the car. That thing has got cameras on it all the way around, from the front, back, sides, to protect it. And it's of course bolted down, but you can just drop it in there and go right on about your way, so you don't even have to come in really. Okay, let me move into our numbers. This is for May 14th. The Georgia today has a total of 35,858 confirmed cases. That's up from 35,245 yesterday, so it has increased. As far as Dade County goes, for the last few days, we've stayed the same. We're still showing 17, and if you take the antibody test, there's 11 antibody tests figured in that, so you can deduct that from that. So that's really good. We're kind of holding our own here the last few days. Walker County, they went from 68 to 72. They have 44 antibody tests there that you can take away from that. Catoosa County, they went from 61 to 67. They have 23 antibody tests. Chattooga County, they're at 16. They stayed the same. They have only 2 antibody tests. Whitfield County went from 171 to 175, and that is a real number there. There's no antibody test there that's figured into that number. Gordon County, they actually went down. They were at 124 yesterday, and now they're at 123. And when we've talked about that before, that is probably a misquoted number there. That number probably went to another county, probably an address, something different about an address. They also have 2 antibody tests out that you can take from that. Floyd County, they went from 160 to 165. They only have 1 antibody test figured into that, so they're really at 164. Bartow County, they went from 368 to 379. And today there's 1,459 unknowns in counties that's not been actually placed yet. So that could be anybody. It could be us. It could be any county in the state of Georgia. So far, we've had 1,527 deaths in Georgia. That's up from 1,493 yesterday. So that has increased. And this is a new number that they're giving us now. Out of that, out of all of the tests, the total tests that we've had, which there's been 285,881 tests that's been administered in Georgia. That's as of today. 6,345 of those people were hospitalized. In other words, that don't mean that that don't mean the others didn't have it, but they were not serious enough. They quarantined them, and they're actually body chemistry fought it off, enough that they didn't have to go to the hospital. Just like me, it shows I had it possibly back in February, And I mean, I knew I was sick. I didn't know I had that. Of course, it didn't even exist then. The name didn't. But I was not really sick enough to go and be checked into a hospital. Now, had I known it was probably this right here, my mental capacity would have took over, and I'd probably went and called an ambulance to come get me. But really and truthfully, that's a pretty good number there, 6,345. But when you look at all the tests that have been done, it's a large number, but it's not compared to the tests. Moved to Tennessee. So far, Tennessee's had 16,370 confirmed cases. That's up from 16,110 as of yesterday. Out of those total numbers, 8,624 of those people have recovered. So they're back at work or back into their normal day life. In Hamilton County, we've had 257 that they were at yesterday. They went up to 286. They have 119 recovered and 13 deceased. Marion County, they stayed the same at 29. They've had 23 recoveries and one death. Grundy County, they stayed the same at 30, and they have 24 recovered with 1 deceased. Sequatchie County, they went from 6 to 7 from yesterday, and they have 6 recovered. So they've gained 1. They stayed the same there on the recovery list for a few days. They're 6 and 6. Meads County, they stayed the same at 22. They have 17 recovered. Bradley County, they went from 74 to 75, and they have 51 recovered with 1 deceased. They have Tennessee has a total of 273 deaths. That's up from 264 yesterday. Tennessee, they've had, out of their actual total cases, they've had 1,388 that's hospitalized. And they've had 292,917 tested. So out of that 292,000, you might say 293,000, 1,388 were serious enough to be hospitalized. Alabama, they've had a total of 10,895 cases. That's up from 10,494 yesterday. That's statewide now. In our Jackson County, our local county here that touches us up on the mountain, they're at 60. They stayed the same. DeKalb County, they went from 168 to 181. So they're kind of holding their own, except for DeKalb. That kind of goes in different days is different, but sometimes DeKalb will stay the same. All at once they'll take a jump. Just want everyone to know, try to keep doing this. Your social distancing. Wear your mask. I want to remind you too today at 6:30, and this is going to be Kerry's going to actually run it live on our website. Evan, he's got several different stations you can watch this on. He came on yesterday and told you about this, but we're going to have a debate or forum, call it what you want, over at the library. We do this every election cycle, and you'll be able to actually put a face with the name of your people that are running for office, hear a little bit about them and their opinions on different questions that's been sent in to the radio station. And so, if you, it's really informative, whether you know the candidate or not, you might just think you know them, but watch this. It's always interesting every year when we do this. Oh yeah, I got my cue card there. Kerry is mentioning Antique Alley. This is, an event comes through every year. Hopefully everyone will social distance on that also, and try to wear your mask if you can. Not mandatory, but it'd just be a good idea, because you have a lot of different people coming through. And I have noticed that there's been several people set up on the road between here and Chattanooga and between here and Rising Pond. So that's all weekend long. It'll end Sunday. So if you want to get out and get some fresh air, and kind of look around at maybe you want to got a little more junk you might want to add to your front porch or your garage, but it's always an interesting time in Dade County. Kerry, we got any questions?
We do have one question, and it is about Back Valley Road.
Yes.
Can you please explain the detour signs with no directions on Back Valley Road?
That's coming from that bridge coming across Daniels Road there, where you come across the interstate. They're fixing to close that down. It'll be closed. I'm not sure. I'll get a report on that tomorrow, how many weeks or how many days, but they will be shutting that down from what they're telling us to finish that project on the bridge. And what that means is the people on the west side of the bridge will have to, take a detour and go follow the detour signs. And of course, the ones on the east side, it's just a short piece there to Highway 11, but that's what that is. And you'll be seeing them, if they hadn't already put them up, you'll be seeing them up at the north end too, on the Sligo Road and in that area too, because that bridge right there is they'll be moving to it where it crosses there off of Sligo Road, going over the interstate there. Yeah.
Yeah, and we did talk with GDOT today, and we know that they are planning to do that sometime around June, but they don't have a definitive
closure.
date yet for the closure for Daniels Bridge Road, or the Daniels Road over the bridge. We have another question. Is the sports complex closed for Antique Alley?
Oh yeah, we're not letting anyone, because of the actually more the storm damage than anything, because we've got people that's been in and out there. The poles, some of the poles are leaning. Of course, the flagpole, you can see it's leaning, but there was a terrible wind, that night, and for the safety and everything, we're kind of holding off on that. But that's that's always a good place to set at. But we're not really. It's just we feel better rather do that than someone get down there and something happen, get hurt. Yeah.
And our last question is brush pickup still going on?
Yes. I'm sorry. I mentioned that. That was the first thing I talked about, or second thing. But we're gonna kind of look at that all the way through the end of the month, or to the end of the month, and then we'll kind of reval everything, talk to the people, and see just how close they are. But the county-wise, we're for sure picking it up. The state, I'm gonna try to find out from them maybe tomorrow, Monday, and let you know. I know they're gonna have a cutoff date, from what I understand, of when they'll quit picking up on State Highway. But from what I understand right now, they're still going there. I know on through this week, or tomorrow's the end of the week. So, yeah. Okay. Appreciate everyone, tuning into this. I hope it's informative to you. We try to bring you, the reason we're doing it is to keep in touch with you on what's going on right here, in Dade County. And so, always if you got questions, you can ask at the end of this little program. Or 667-8999, area code 423. That's my phone. Call me, and if I don't know the answer, I'll sure get it for you. So appreciate everyone, and we'll be back in here at 3 o'clock tomorrow, and try to come to the debate tonight. Or I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. I said come to it, but it's different than we've ever done this year. I should have said this. I keep forgetting. But due to social distancing, the candidates are only allowed to bring, I think it's 1 or 2 people there with them. But the rest of the people will have to watch it online, because the room's so small over there. They would not be able to get a lot of people in there. We'd be violating the rules of that. So if you can, tune in, and I guess if you want to come outside and kind of hang around, you could. But as far as entrance to the building, Evan's going to really be strict, and the library people on that, to try to live with that. So just keep that in mind. But you'll be able to watch it on many different channels. I mean, online, Evan. I think you'll be able to hear it live on the radio, from what I understand. And if not, I'm sure he'll be playing it back over and over and over the next week or so. So I appreciate everyone. And as I said, we'll be back here tomorrow at 3 o'clock. So hang in there.